Welcome to M Squared TechCast.
All right, it's Matt Roush.
And Mike Brennan.
And we're back with another segment of the M Squared TechCast. And we have in studio, as you can see here, Dale Hermiller, who is CEO of Healthy Planet Holdings.
Yes, and I met, I just was telling Matt, who has just returned from being out a month, getting a new knee.
Yes.
Or at least, I guess it is technically a new
completely
knee, right?
Yeah, complete replacement.
Yeah.
Yep.
That I met Dale at the Cannabis Leaders event in Lansing last Thursday.
Okay.
That was something that our guest host for the month that Matt was out, Rick Thompson, put on. And we were waiting around for the bar to open, and he was standing there with his friend, and I said, heck, let's go downstairs and get a drink. And then so we began to talk about what he does. And what he does is he's in the hemp industry, which, everybody is aware, I think, that we passed the law for recreational cannabis use, which took a year for it to come forward. And on December 1st, on a limited basis, there are a few provisioning centers. But everybody forgets there's also hemp farming, which then hemp is used to create CBDs, which is really a medicine, right, Dale?
Well, that's correct. And if you want to go back and really look at the new industry that's forming here in America, you could almost go back to 1906, where there were 6,000 different car manufacturers.
Right.
So over there was Henry Ford, David Buick, Barney Oldfield.
He looks like Barney Oldfield, too.
And so you get the picture. I mean, there were a lot of pioneers just gutting it out because they didn't know if they were going to have roads or gas stations or repair shops. Well, the same is true of this new industry, both cannabis and hemp. Obviously, both of them have been restricted for almost 100 years, and we've pretty much now globally said, okay, based on all the studies, there's plenty of scientific evidence that there's some good medicinally that can come out of this plant. Now, hemp and marijuana are related. They are a cousin. However, industrial hemp does not have any THC.
Or a very small amount, actually.
0.3%. So you could get high on corn silk faster than you could hemp.
Well, that's what Matt used to do when he was living over there on the west side
on the west side of the state, sure. Yeah, we had a lot of cornfields. Yeah, right.
So anyway, but going back to the car industry analogy, we went from 6,000 manufacturers in 1906 down to less than 60 in 10 years' time. So same thing has happened here on a much more accelerated basis. In the cannabis side, it's now big business are coming into our state. Big. I mean, and we're talking B with billions, and they have their sights set on having a footprint across the entire country in every state that is eventually going to be legal.
I think we have 11 states legal now, I believe,
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah, for recreational, right.
Right. And most states now are certainly leaning towards the medical side, and I'm sure with ballots coming up next year, it's going to be much more acceptable because as guys from our generation, when Harry Truman and Eisenhower were presidents when we were born, it was pretty much taboo to be talking about marijuana or anything related to the devil weed when we were growing up.
It was for those hipster musicians and things
Well,
like
yeah, I was
that,
going to say
right?
there's the old Jimmy Buffett lyric from Pencil Thin Mustache. Only jazz musicians were smoking marijuana. Right, yeah.
Right. And so it's clearly in my lifetime, it's been extremely prohibited, restricted, regulated. Okay. So now, having lived my whole life in automotive.
Yeah, I was going to say, your background's automotive, so how did you get into this industry?
You know what really did it is I learned that in Oakland County, there were over 175 grow facilities in 2016. Now, that's way before this recent legalization. So I got checking into it, and I go, oh, those are just caregiver guys. What's a caregiver? Well, a caregiver can grow 12 plants for himself and 5 other people, so he can grow 72 plants. And so now every warehouse in southeast Michigan has 72 plants. So I go, if they can do it, I'm going to figure out a way. Well, then they legalized it, and so I learned everything there was to know about it and did a little traveling out west. But I came back and I said, okay, as soon as they legalize hemp, this makes sense. Because again, I grew up on a farm, and I said, we import hemp from China, of all things. We import hemp, and here we are, the best agricultural community, country in the world. We could feed the whole world if we had to.
Yeah.
So now all the farmers in America are allowed to grow hemp. What's that mean? I can barely spell it if you spot me the H, M, and the P.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of questions now, and what's lacking is there's a disconnect at the consumer end on what is CBD, because unfortunately I stood up late last night and counted. There's 34 million websites on the internet that sell CBD.
Wow.
And then another 34 million gas stations, and now you can get it at Kroger and this, that, and the other thing. So everybody is looking at CBD like it's some wonder drug. The honest to goodness answer is it has to do with your cannabinoid system that's in your own body. Everybody knows we have neuroreceptors in our body. And when it comes to why is hemp a good thing, we have now learned that CBD can make and allow people to get off of their opiates and substitute CBD, because the CBD will attach to that neural receptor that normally they were looking for an opioid, and it's replaced by CBD. CBD has anti-inflammatory properties. So having heard from Matt today about his knee surgery, I've given him a patented CBD product. And this is critical because I kid about getting your $3 can of CBD at the gas station, because don't do that.
It's like gas station sushi. Pass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And don't buy vape cartridges from your friend that sells them to you for $7 for $100 and it says dank cartridges on it. Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
So anyway, the great thing about the hemp industry is it's a wide open playing field,
right.
But the farmers had nowhere to go. There was no one place you go and say, oh, great and wonderful Oz, what should we do? So we created our own little group, and it's called the Michigan Hemp Cooperative. So most farmers, most hemp people in the state of Michigan are a member of this group. And so collectively, we're looking at the supply chain and the problems in it. And long and the short of it is, this year we had problems for our farmers because there was no grain elevators. We have to have a place to sell, dry it, bucket, sell, put it into the machine that turns it into oil. So picture, if you would, we went out and grew 12 tons of hemp, and we only had capacity to convert about 2 million into oil. So then we're looking all over the rest of the country for extraction capacity.
Right.
There's no room at the end. And so that's what our little group is attempting to do, is to build that giant grain elevator. We're going to do it in Jackson, right in the center of the south central Michigan. So if you drew a 150-mile radius, we'll hit Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. So we're and again, the reason why we're going to make this work is that it's not just one guy. It's not one big giant corporation. It's a handful. It's a couple hands full of hemp pioneers that have gotten their fingers dirty this year and know what we did right and what we did wrong and how we can fix this for the longer term, even to get some of the hemp that's stored in barns into our extraction facility so we can turn it into CBD.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last thing I want to touch on is, again, stay away from that gas station CBD. Take a look at crafthempcompany.com. Now, this is a store that we put together that only stocks Michigan-made CBD products. So everything in this store was made by Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Frank down the road or Louie up the street, and they're good at certain products. They may have, one guy might be really good at topicals. Another guy has the pain ointment. One of my friends has the patented pill. You got to try the pill. But anyway, I'm excited about the business, and where else can you go to be a pioneer again, just like 1906?
That's right, Henry Ford all over again. We got about 2 minutes left, so let's give folks some information about where they can go to find out more from you guys. Give some website addresses and whatnot.
Well, I would definitely have you check Craft Hemp Company, because again, check out the products that were handmade here in Michigan. The other thing I'd have you guys and gals consider is that we're not going to be able to build the hemp industry waiting on government or some big company like Monsanto to come here and save us. We're going to need to do some good old-fashioned farmer co-ops. And so as you're talking to your financial advisors and you're going to ask them, well, am I going to get a 30% return again in 2020 as I did this year in the stock market? Maybe I should put a couple bucks into hemp. Mm-hmm. And I know you're going to find those amongst your financial advisors, and help the farmers and help yourself.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
All right. Thanks very much. Dale Hermiller, CEO of Healthy Planet Holdings. And once again, the website crafthempcompany.com. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, guys.